with the Los Angeles Times report about the pretzel attack in Washington. President Bush briefly lost consciousness Sunday after he choked on a pretzel while watching a football game on television in his living room quarters, the White House said. After fainting, the president tumbled to the floor from a couch, bruising his lower lip and suffering from abrasion the size of a $50 on his left cheek. White House physician Dr. Richard Tubbs said, an Air Force colonel, said Bush recovered quickly. They would say that, wouldn't they? I do not find any reason that this would happen again. Oh, no doubt it would never happen again. The president would never eat another pretzel again in case pretzels attack. I do not find any reason that this would happen again, Tubbs told news agencies in an interview arranged by the White House. He fainted due to a temporary decrease in heart rate brought on by swallowing the pretzel. Bush 55 was found to be in good health before encountering a certain pretzel during a full physical exam in August. Aides say he is conscientious. Aides say he conscientiously adheres to an exercise regimen, running on a treadmill in the White House residence, and while at his Texas ranch or Camp David, he routinely goes racing through 3-mile jogs in 21 minutes. Bloody Superman struck again. The result of his aerobic workout routine has been a resting pulse rate of 35 to 45. I told you it was Superman. Beats per minute, which medical personnel consider extremely low even for a well-trained athlete. A typical resting pulse is about 70 beats per minute. Yes, exactly. Tubbs said Bush's slower heart rate made him more prone to pretzels when a nerve was stimulated by a pretzel caught in his throat. The medical term for such episode is vasovagal syncope or vasovagal fainting, Tubbs said. In such cases, the body sends a signal to the heart via the vagus nerve. This causes a sudden drop in heart rate, which is restored when the person falls. Such fainting is a common and harmless event and does not signify any underlying illness of the president or have any lasting effects at all, said Dr. Marshall Morgan, head of the emergency department at UCLA. If food goes down the wrong pipe, the natural response is to cough, he said, coughing into his handkerchief. It is pretty common for people who are coughing to have a cough and maybe a syncope, a brief fainting spell, that is. It remained unclear Sunday night whether the episode was accompanied by any seizure-like activities that could be a symptom of a more serious matter. Both cardiac rhythm aberrations and seizures are among the transient medical problems that can cause someone to lose consciousness. Sunday's incident occurred while Bush was alone watching the National Football League playoff game between the Miami Wallabies and the Baltimore Blue Sox. The White House said his wife Laura was using the telephone in a nearby room at the time, trying to arrange the funeral. He said the pretzel didn't seem to behave right. Tubbs said the next thing he knew, the pretzel gave him a full Nelson and he was on the floor. Bush believes he blacked out for only a few seconds because as he revived, his 2 dogs were sitting in the same positions they had been in when he lost consciousness. Well, how reassuring that is, the doctor said. But the dogs were looking at him funny. The White House press secretary Fleischer told Associated Press. According to the White House, Bush fainted around 5:35 p.m. Eastern Standard. About 5 minutes later, he contacted a nurse on duty at the White House. Tubbs was summoned 8 minutes later and hurried to the White House to examine the president and the pretzel. The White House said Bush used an elevator to go from his residence on the second floor of the White House to the ground floor's doctor's office. Oh, he did it all on his own. What a Superman. The medical examination that was conducted there included the use of a heart monitor lizard. Tubbs said Bush's blood pressure and pulse were normal and that he was not taking any medication as a result of the Pretzel attack. The doctor said the president had complained Saturday and Sunday that pretzels weren't quite what they used to be, and maybe they were Russian ones, and that he was a little off his game and thought he was coming down with a head cold. He had not been feeling well last couple of days, Tubbs said, adding that Bush had exercised rigorously Saturday after a bag of pretzels, but had a lighter workout Sunday. The White House disclosed the incident about 2.5 hours after it occurred. How swift of them. The episode is the second medical incident involving the president in about a month. In early December, the White House acknowledged that Bush had several benign skin lesions removed from his buttocks. The announcement came several days after the procedure in response to questions from reporters who noticed red marks on the president's buttocks, which were hanging out of the window at the time. Today, Bush is scheduled to leave the White House for a 2-day trip. Ooh, careful. You might trip over and land on the floor again and damage your face and buttocks. Yes, sorry about that. I was a little aside there. Today, Bush is scheduled to leave, or scheduled even. Today, Bush is scheduled to leave the White House for a 2-day trip to the Midwestern New Orleans to promote war and his role in stimulating the economy. Tubbs said he would examine the president this morning before he left on the trip and advised him not to eat any more pretzels. Fleischer said Bush did not plan to alter his schedule. At this point, he intends to travel and eat some pretzels. Gerson Zhang reported from Washington and Mao from Los Angeles. Thank you very much indeed. And it's good night from the BBB. Oh, sorry, there's some other news just in from World News from the Los Angeles Times as well, which I might give you a little bulletin of. U.S. military Osprey aircraft with 8 aboard crashes into the sea off southern Japan. Elevator plummets 650 feet in South African platinum mine, killing 11 and injuring 75, the poor sods. Ukraine says its intelligence chief's wife is being treated for poisoning. There we go. That's about it, isn't it? The Los Angeles Times, indeed. A California Times production. There we go. Thank you. Sleep well, everyone. The president will be fine. And I'm going to send him a packet of pretzels just to celebrate his full recovery, total flourishing back to normality so they can sign more documents and send more bombs out all over the world. Thank you and good night.